What's up, guys? Samoan Phantom 101 here, and this is my NXT review. And let's just get to it so I don't waste any time. I thought NXT was a good show here. Not a great show. It wasn't as like other. For some reason, WWE seems to be on the under this week. Raw was underwhelming. SmackDown, with the exception of a couple promos, was underwhelming. And even NXT, while good, a little bit underwhelming for an NXT show. I'm not going by those standards. By the standards of Raw and SmackDown, NXT was a good show. NXT on its own was an okay show. But it wasn't about the matches, it was about the stories that they were trying to tell, which I will give them a plus for. I don't know what that was. So we started off here with the Bayley and Asuka contract signing. Now, I expected this to be the main event segment here, because I heard the last week we were going to get the contract signing. I thought this was going to be the end of the show. Instead, it was at the very beginning of the show. Bayley and Asuka showing some real fire here. Asuka saying that she respects Bayley, but she doesn't think that Bayley is on her level. Bayley is showing a much more aggressive, almost heelish kind of side, where she's not shaking Asuka's hand, and she pushed her aside when walking out after signing. There were several people that thought that this was way out of character for Bayley and that she almost turned heel, but I don't think so. If anything, for one reason. We've seen this before. Don't forget, one of the best storylines NXT ever had was Sami Zayn's, the rise of Sami Zayn, and finally winning the big one. That had the same thing. If you notice, I think it was like maybe a couple weeks before NXT Takeover Our Evolution, Zayn had, even though he liked Neville, this wasn't about respect. He didn't want Neville's respect. He wanted the competition and the best. And he actually did something even worse than Bayley. He slapped Neville right across the face. Now, I will say, Bayley, the overall, everything about this was good. The one tiny problem I had with it, and what made the Zayn segment better than this segment, was when Zayn did it, not only did he show fire, but he immediately he showed the emotion. When Bayley did it, even though it was good, it like she didn't show that much emotion at all. So I don't think it was this may be, going over my head or some of your heads, but I don't think it was Bayley's attitude that was the problem here. I think it may have been her delivery, if for some people. For me, it wasn't that bad, but for some people, the delivery may have been a little off. And let's face it, Bayley has never always been the greatest when it came to delivery in terms of promos. She has never been the greatest promo guy, or girl in this case. She's always been a great wrestler and a good promo shit, but when it comes to like the really big stuff, Bayley's just okay at it. And this is a case where I think that kind of applies. The Authors of Pain defeated insert jobbers here, Jason Nails and Rob Horizon. Not to be confused with Terrorizing, Triple H back in WCW. This was a nice little, squash. It was a 1-minute squash match, and it needed to be for the Authors of Pain, who were accompanied, again, by Paul Ellering. Again, Ellering did not say anything. TM61 came out. I think it was Shane. I would say Mike Nichols, but the team TM61 came out. I forget their names. Shane Thorne and Nick. I forget his last name, but TM61 came out trying to save the jobbers, because after the match, Authors of Pain were going to give a post-match beatdown. And TM61, they got hurt, not hurt like legitimately, but they got, thrown down by Authors of Pain. So Authors of Pain looking dominant here. Let's see if they have a match at Takeover, or if this is just a TV kind of feud. Um, Andrade CN Almas defeated Angelo Dawkins in a quick 2-minute match. Angelo Dawkins, I don't watching this match. Angelo Dawkins is not that bad. Knowing how it's going to be, Angelo Dawkins might be the next Ty Dillinger in the sense that he'll job to everyone and put everyone over, much like Ty Dillinger did. And but again, I guess because there's only 2 minutes, but they're not giving Andrade almost enough time. They're not giving Andrade almost enough time to actually show what he has to show. They're only giving him 2 to 4 minute matches, and I've only seen him in 3 matches. Now, thankfully, after the match was over, Bobby Roode came out and announced that he was going to face Andrade Almas at TakeOver Brooklyn. So, hopefully that'll get at least 10 minutes. It should get more, considering Bobby Roode is in it. But, yeah, I think that'll be a pretty good match. And I want to see more from Almas because I've seen some of his matches as Los Sombra in Mexico. Especially that 2 out of 3 Falls match where it was a mask versus mask match. One of the last matches he had before leaving. And with the exception of that ref, I don't know what the fuck... If you watch that match between Los Sombra and that one guy, I forget his name, I don't know what the fuck was going on there. But, yeah. That was a fan-fucking-tastic match if I've ever seen one. So, yeah. Los Sombra is now Almas, and I want to see more from this guy. I don't want him just to be winning 2 to 3 minute matches, because he's so much better than that. I hope this guy isn't like the next like Tyler Breeze in the sense that he doesn't win the title. I'm not saying he should at this time, but I'm thinking it'll be a good idea. So Austin Aries was backstage talking with William Regal. Regal said that Aries will face No Way Jose at TakeOver Brooklyn after Aries complained that he doesn't have a match at TakeOver Brooklyn. Everyone else does but him. Oh yeah, I almost forgot. After the Authors of Pain match, Shinsuke Nakamura was briefly interviewed backstage. He basically said if Samoa Joe wants him, Nakamura will find him. And then he gave this like look like, I see you, Joe. And he walks away. And I gotta say, whoever the announcer, or not the announcer, but the backstage interviewer is, she looked freaked out when Nakamura walked away. I thought that was funny. I always go to my notes. It always reminds me. Billie Kay defeated Liv Morgan in an okay match. I'm glad that they're actually giving some of the other women exposure on NXT because after the women's roster got raped by the draft, I mean they lost Charlotte. They lost Nia Jax, Carmella, and Alexa Bliss, and so they're trying to give some of the other women more time. Billie Kay, Liv Morgan, whoever else they have in the roster. They need more women. They need more women on that NXT women's roster. So yeah, it was a pretty good match. Billie Kay won with a big boot, which I guess is her finisher now. This is just me, but the big boot finish only really works if you're big, like a really big guy. Like Matt Morgan, he was known for doing the bicycle kick, which he called the carbine footprint. That makes sense because he's a huge dude. Sheamus is the same thing, the bro kick. That looks like it actually freaking hurts. So if a kick is your finish, it better be a good one. If a normal front kick, not a super kick, but a normal front kick, it better be a good one. We had Ciampa and Gargano backstage saying that they wanted a match, what they were doing was William Regal congratulated them on the Cruiserweight Classic match, a great match that is, by the way, and said that they would be, in order to basically cure them of any possible aggression against each other for Gargano winning, Ciampa losing, they were granted a tag team title match against the Revival at at TakeOver Brooklyn. So there's another match set up. That's 3 matches set up so far in Brooklyn. So, yeah. Speaking of Ciampa and Gargano, they were actually next. They took on Tucker Knight and Patrick Clark. Yes, Patrick from NXT is... I think he returned a few weeks ago, but Patrick from... Not Patrick Clark from NXT, but Patrick Clark from Tough Enough is back, and thank God, because he showed the most amount of potential on that show. Because he was actually wrestled a few matches before then. He actually had a small bit of experience. Samoa Joe was next. By the way, Ciampa and Gargano won that match. Samoa Joe is next. He faced Mojo Rawley after the confrontation they had last week. I saw some good fire from Mojo this week. We need to see more of the aggressive side of Mojo Rawley. Like here's the thing. The Hype Bros thing is that we don't get hyped, we stay hyped. Well, the thing that I want to see from Mojo is he's like a happy-go-lucky guy, that kind of thing. But as soon as you punch him, or you you do something that gets him mad, he gets pissed off and then just goes on a rampage. They're doing the same thing with No Way Jose. You saw, I think it was a couple weeks ago, No Way Jose had a match, and he got hit in the face at one point or something, and he had this pissed expression on his face, and just hauled ass. So we need to see more of that from Mojo Rawley. Kind of like kind of like Festus was, except not mentally retarded. But yeah, Joe beat Rawley, and after the match was over, he decided he hit the coquina clutch again on Rawley, sending a message to Nakamura. And speaking of which, Nakamura came out, and he was swaggering his way to the ring. Security came out, separating Joe from Nakamura. No, there were no security in front of Nakamura, just Joe. Nakamura taunted him by first, grabbing his nose and then slapping him across the face. So yeah, and Joe, when Nakamura came out, Joe was absolutely pissed. I loved this. This was a good episode of NXT, in my opinion, now thinking about it. It was a good episode. It set up 3 matches. It built up 3 more matches, I believe, at TakeOver. Ember Moon, I hope she does well, and because we got another Ember Moon package. So with that said, see you next time, guys. My next video will be the Cruiserweight Classic recap, as well as the Week 5, which is this week, Week 5 review. So until next time, guys, I'll see you later.